Okay guys, so as promised, I said I'd break down my sub-only match versus Paul Bridges. This happened at the end of 2014. It was in something called a Tuff Invitational. It was the first one of those. It was a 20-minute sub-only fight. If it went to end a decision, it was going to be in a draw. It was a really interesting event. I fought Paul many years before this. I think it was 2006 in an MMA fight. At the time, I was primarily a kickboxer. Only just really started training jiu-jitsu intently. And Paul managed to catch me in an armbar. I think it was a purple belt at the time. He caught me with a very nice armbar as we were exchanging some grappling. And then Paul's probably the reason that I got so heavily involved in jiu-jitsu. And I really focused on jiu-jitsu a lot more after that fight because of him. But I mean, the whole experience was very interesting because it felt a lot more like a fight. You know, we had the weigh-in in the morning, and then the walkout music, all of that kind of stuff, which was a lot of fun. So let's get into this fight and see what happens. Okay, so first thing, like any fight, it was a little bit of a feeling out period. We got a little bit of hand fighting going on. I felt Paul was quite hesitant to engage. You can see he's kind of circling, backing off a little bit. Anytime I start to hand fight, he just pushes it off. Same if I get that collar grip. But at the same time, I'm just feeling him out. I want to see what he's doing, what he feels like a little bit, the energy that he's giving me. Primarily when I'm ever engaging in takedowns, I always try to get this collar grip with my left hand, and I'm going to control the wrist. This is my setup position, something I started working back in the ADCC, and it allows me to go to a couple of really, really nice attacks. So again, just hand fighting. I'm trying to set up my grips. Here's just a little bit of a foot sweep attempt. Get a little bit close to the edge, so I circle back in. You notice all the time I'm kind of pushing onto Paul. I'm keeping the pressure on him. I'm not letting him come forwards. It's a lot harder to defend if you're going backwards. Okay, so again, just circling, a little bit more hand fighting. Okay, and again, 20-minute fight, in no hurry, just seeing what's going on. Here he's using this kind of cross defense, which is it's good. I maybe could have looked to go into a 2-on-1. But now at this point, I see where he's at. His hands are very high, and that's kind of exposing his legs a little bit. So I start going back up to the hand fighting, and then I shoot towards his leg. And you notice when I shoot, I'm not going straight on. I'm actually circling around the corner, and I'm going to drive up into him. Now Paul does a great job. He immediately starts to go around my neck and attack with a guillotine. He's pushing my head away. I'm in a little bit of danger, but I managed to turn the corner and go out. And this is a really key, important little detail here. Okay, not so much the setup. Setup's nice. Okay, hand fight, turn the corner. But look, now here you see my head's tied up in this position. If I'd have driven forwards and taken him down, I would have ended up in closed guard. Okay, and possibly in danger of being guillotined. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen. So what I did is I turned my head out the other direction. Okay, from here, you'll notice that my legs and my hips will turn this way, and I'll shuck. It's called a shuck. And I bring my head out underneath his arm. So, turn, keep the leg, and then drive on. And then as soon as I get him down to the ground, it's a bit scrambly, I just keep hold of his leg, and then engage. And I engage straight away to this knee slide position. So let's look at it one more time. We're here, I circle, hand fight, shoot around the corner, change direction, and engage. Okay, and now again I'm into my passing position. Here, immediately the first thing I do is I jump over his leg and smash his legs, just like we're doing at the moment. Really, really simple. Let's look at it one more time. I go here, take him down, engage to reverse De La Riva, and now take his hips back the opposite direction. You see my knees coming in behind. I'm already searching for this underhook, and I smash his hips down. Here, now, heavy hips, pretty good posture. My head's a little bit low. I've got this deep underhook, and his hips are down. So he's in a very, very tricky position. Okay, and then as soon as any time that he brings his knee up, I keep smashing it over to the side. See, I'm turning my hips, driving this out all the time. Okay. Now my next goal is I want to get this heavy underhook position. Heavy underhook, I'm going to drive my head back in to flatten him out. And I'm also working on freeing my feet up at the same time. Okay, using like the windshield wiper movement. Okay, now I'm here. I'm going to try and pull up on his arm. Like really work down towards his legs, and then I'm going to back step around. You can see I've already put my foot. My foot's not quite free yet. I need to free that up. But yeah, I'm smashing the hips down, keeping it heavier against the knees, and now I'm going to more than likely, yeah, I'm trying to back step up over the top, or just hook over the top of his feet and pass. Again, there we go, pass, and immediately you'll notice I go back under the hips. Okay, this is something we've talked about a lot. I'm not just stepping and trying to go to side control. I step, go back towards the hips. Okay, so again, I'm here, we're working, circle my foot, and then back under the hips. His hips are offline. His first movement now is trying to defend this position. Okay, so we're working. I stay nice and low, and again, I'm now on the hips, and I'm closing all this space in. Here, I'm on the sides of my feet. That's a good little bit of pressure. Being on my toes would be better. But Paul's forced. He's no longer thinking about escaping anymore. He's now thinking about defending the position. Okay, again, good toes on the mat and good positioning, able to create good pressure. Now, my next goal is I'm looking at, getting his arms out. Like here, I've already got this elbow out. I'm working up into a higher position now, so I've abandoned being on the hips. My next thing, it's probably, you see he got his arm back in, so I go back, work against the hips again. And I'm just looking at isolating different things. I'm staying heavy and tight, I'm keeping him under pressure. I'm trying to be as calm as I can and not overcommit. He's doing a good job of playing defense there. I just cupped, went straight over to the mount. This is, again, it's a lovely transition. I think I talked to you guys about this a couple of weeks ago. Like here, I block the hips. Okay, so this creates a little bit of space. I bring my knee over, drive to the ground and step. Okay, and then immediately, again, I'm closing the space. I'm using my forearm here and my chest to keep him flat, pin him to the ground. When I realize that's not going to work, I start to go towards the seatbelt grip. Okay, so again, I'm just feeding the hands. Now here, this is something that I started developing. We called it the Sukuri. And the Sukuri is kind of a weird transition to the back, but it also allows me to set up a submission. So I feed, and now I lock like a body triangle over on this point. Now, because it's sub only, I don't have to worry about points. If I was more concerned about points, I may not have done this because I end up on the bottom. But I lock my legs. I've still got the over-under position here, and now I'm trying to lock my hands together. Now this is tight. It's a very tight thing. Really, really hard for him to escape from. Okay, and at the worst, if he doesn't escape, I'm going to start going towards his back, and then I'm going to be on his neck. Okay, that's going to be my next primary option. So again, I realize it's not there, and adjust, get my hooks in, and now I'm on top. There's a nice thing, they always say never cross your feet. Well, you see here my feet are crossed, and then instantly uncrossed. My guard's a little loose here. I probably should be keeping the knees a little tighter, but I'm hand fighting, I'm in control. Paul does a great job here if he keeps his weight up on top of me, which makes it a little harder for me to attack the neck. I'd prefer to have him more on the side. But here I'm just fighting for the hand. I'm not in control of his upper body yet, so he's able to start moving around. But again, there's no points. I know I can kind of scramble and come on top. So yeah, again, just a little bit of hand fighting, a little bit of moving around. I'm waiting for Paul to make a mistake. Here I'm just searching for his neck, searching for tighter controls. And kind of seeing what he gives me as well. Like now I've switched to the body triangle, nice secure position, my foot's hooked under his leg. So it's very hard for him to turn over. Now I know he's going to probably try and put the pressure down here. So one of the things I like to do, you can put pressure on the feet, on the knees if I stay in this position, but one of the things I like to do is as the person goes over, like Paul's trying to do, I keep it and I roll with it and I lift my hips over. And I try and put them belly down. And if that doesn't work, it's going to allow me enough space to exchange my feet or do whatever I need to. And again, I'm just keeping the body triangle. Again now, I'm still on his back. I've got a nice tight body triangle. I'm probably going for the over-under position. And the referee stops us and resets us back to the middle. Do a couple of roly-polies. Good. Now as you can see, I'm just staying attached to his back. Wherever he goes, I stay attached. Again, looking, not putting my feet in danger. Working against his neck. Paul does a good job. He's just defending. Obviously, again, it's a 20-minute fight. I'm on his back. I don't want to go too crazy. Here, I'm looking at transitioning to the armbar. So I've set up that figure 4 grip. I start to lose it, so I switch to the mount. He turns, I end up on his back again, and now again I'm going back to this position where I've got the head and the leg, and I'm locking it up. Here I've lost the leg, so I'm not too worried about it, but I'm still keeping my ankles crossed so he's inside this loop, can't really escape. Good. We end up back in mount. Here, just picking up this arm, as we talked about, I pick up the arm, stretch him out, and now I think I'm trying to get to the head and arm position. Here, so all I do is, just forcing it up, staying heavy, knees nice and wide, my toes are tucked underneath him, which is not bad, but then you'll see again, I just move my feet onto the hips. Here, it does a great job of scrambling, but again, because I'm tight, because I'm already exposed, I can just transition to the back. Now, I've got 1 foot caught, so I have the option, Paul does a really good job there. He does a great job of recognizing the danger he's in. He puts my foot back in guard. He's either going to give up the back or he's going to go to half guard. So he does a very good job here. Like, he bridges, stuffs my foot back between his, and now I'm trying to go towards the back, but he powers back over. He's staying very tight, powers back over, I end in half guard. But immediately I'm back on this head and arm position. Okay, and now I smash his hips back over, and I'm just working towards the pass. This is just what we talked about. This is the finger walk. Finger walking up, trying to expose the position, just taking my time, keeping him under pressure. Now again, because I've got him back to his side, I can start transitioning towards the back again. Okay, which is what I'm probably going to do. There we go. Nice chair sit over the top. Here, looking at closing this space, I was looking at coming over his arm and working from there. Good, again, straight back to the body triangle, turn him over to the side, and then start attacking the neck. Here, I'm just hand fighting. I'm probably trying to pull my hand through, get this deep. Got a little bit of a wrong hand positioning. It should be a little bit more underneath his armpit, so it's harder for him to fight, but it's okay. Again, now I'm looking at setting up this armbar position. In the armbar, this is one of the things that I was doing to set up the position and actually go there. You can see it. I've linked, so I'm off to the side. I have this very tight body triangle position. My arm's hooked underneath his leg, arm around his neck. Okay, so this is going to compress his diaphragm and his ribs, make it very hard to breathe. Now, once I lock this in, I just keep it tight and slowly increase the pressure. So at the start, it doesn't feel like anything. And then as it increases, you can no longer breathe out. Okay, so it just gets tighter and tighter, and he's forced to tap. One of the really nasty things about this is when you tap, it actually hurts even more because of the release of pressure. Okay, so let me show you how I set it up one more time. Get a little bit further back. So here, I'm kind of faking with the armbar attack. I've already set up the body triangle. Body triangle's already set up. I'm looking at attacking this wrist, isolating out this wrist here, but you can see me doing it. I'm going to try and loop his head, get my forearm in front of his head, which starts there. Good. And now I'm going to swing my leg, but he bridges, which is not really a problem. So I go back around the head, adjust my angle a little bit, and I'm underneath his leg. Okay, and then I start closing this off. And again, this is just the triangle pressure, regular triangle pressure I use all the time, keeping his head nice and tight so it can't escape out. It's difficult because he's only got really this one hand to defend with, and then we get the tap. Okay, guys. So that was my fight with Paul Bridges. A few really important things to take note from. Firstly, I would say is how I got my head out of the guillotine position by shucking. Secondly, how I smashed the hips over. And then finally, how I looked at taking the back and then blending all those things together. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll do another one of these soon. Thanks.